Are you trying to figure out what to make for Thanksgiving dinner now that you don't eat meat? I have a great recipe for a vegan turkey roast that is better than anything that you can buy at the store. It's made ahead, so you can make your Thanksgiving Day prep so much easier. Let me show you how we make it. So, as always, the ingredients will be all listed in the description box below and the full recipe there. You want to start with Vital Wheat gluten flour and then add some oats, some yeast flakes, some flour to add better texture to your dough. This is a chicken style seasoning that you can, and this is onion powder, and you don't want to miss any of the onion powder. It gives good flavor. We're going to add poultry seasoning and garlic powder and some cayenne pepper, just a pinch. Oops, the cayenne pepper does not want to come out of this bowl, but we will not be dissuaded. We will get that cayenne pepper. And then we have some salt. We like a little zip in our turkey roast. Let's give a quick mix to that. If you do not have a stand mixer like I do, you can just stir it together with a spoon and then add your water. Once you add your water, you will get it mixing. Again, if you're not using a stand mixer, you're going to want to mix this by hand, and after a minute it's going to make a nice thick dough, and you'll want to put it out on your counter and knead it like you knead bread, and just knead that for at least 5 to 10 minutes because you want to elongate all of those gluten fibers as you mix it. You can see after a little while it gets really thick and hard to mix. Even for the stand mixer, it's hard to mix. Just let it go for a little bit longer and then it's ready to go. Don't worry if the dough looks a little like it's gonna fall apart. It's fine, just push it all together, and then we're going to wrap that into some plastic wrap and stick it into the refrigerator. Go ahead and wrap that into plastic wrap. One of the reasons we like to make the turkey roast ahead of time is because of all these steps that require resting of the dough. So we're going to stick this into the refrigerator and we will check it on it the next day. You'll see that the dough is totally different the next morning and it stretches out so nicely. I like to make a big long snake out of it and tie it into knots. That elongates the gluten fibers and kind of mimics the fibers of a muscle meat, and I like to do that, and then I tie it all together, and it gives you different textures throughout the roast. And if you do not want to go through all the trouble of stretching this out and tying into knots, you can take that roast and wrap it really tight into a cheesecloth, and then you can put that into the broth that way. You do want to make sure that the roast is wrapped up tightly, whether you're doing it this way with the tying in knots or whether you're wrapping it in the cheesecloth. You want it to be super tight because it will come apart in the broth otherwise, because it's going to be boiling in there for about an hour to an hour and a half. So tuck all those pieces under, make sure it's super tight, and then it's ready to go into the broth. Now we're going to make the broth. We start with our water, and then we will add some of the Braggs Liquid Aminos, which gives a salty flavor. I like that better than the soy sauce, as I said before. And there's some onion powder and some onion. I like to use some fresh onion also because it gives a good flavor. I don't worry about chopping it small, I just chunk it up and throw it right into the broth. And then I'll give the broth a quick stir, and I will put it onto the stove and get it boiling. Once the broth is boiling, you want it to be at a rolling boil before you add your turkey roast. And then you want to let that boil for an hour to an hour and a half, and I stir that every once in a while to make sure that there's enough water in there and there's nothing sticking to the bottom, and it's all good. Once your turkey roast has boiled for an hour and a half, you can remove it from the heat and let it cool in its broth. I really think the turkey roast has a better texture and flavor if you let it sit overnight. So I would take that broth and roast and put it into the refrigerator, and it can stay there until you're ready to use it. This is great for Thanksgiving because you can make it a day or two ahead of time, or you can put it in the freezer and it will keep there in the freezer for several months. When you're ready to use it, you can thaw it out and you can warm it in an oven on low heat until it's cooked through. If you want to make it pretty, you can brown it on each side before you put it in the oven. The vegan turkey roast is done and it looks great. I want to give it a taste and we'll see what we think. Look how the pieces fall apart. They pull apart just like, we used to eat. That is so good. I can't wait till after Thanksgiving to make it into a sandwich. That is going to be great. You are not going to want to miss any of our perfect vegan Thanksgiving dinner recipes. If you check the description box below, I'll have all the recipes linked. But if you want to just skip onto the mashed potatoes, I'll put it right here in this end card for you.